can do that.
We're good to go.
Okay, so I want to welcome everyone to tonight's meeting. This is the Community Board 2's Economic and Municipal Services Committee meeting. My name is Maria Torres. I am the chairperson of this meeting. Again, just in the effort of, how we do things here, I want to thank everyone for taking the time out. This is like now most of our personal time. So I want to thank you for taking the time out to come here to discuss these issues. We like to have a nice, respectful discussion about everything. And I promise I will try to keep this meeting moving and get you back to, what your families and your home lives. So we don't have any voting items tonight. They're all pretty much presentations. So we shouldn't have too many issues. So first up is Brian Gursky of True Fund Financial Services, and you're going to talk about your business's industrial business leadership program.
Yes, thank you so much, Maria. And Cynthia, I had just emailed my PowerPoint. Is that the right thing to do?
Yes, I'll send it right over to Ralph. So just.
No, I got it. I mean, if this is it here.
Oh yeah,
that's the flyer.
Those are the flyers.
Second attachment, it came in like encrypted, so I couldn't add that on. This is the only thing that I got out of the two attachments Cynthia sent me earlier.
Well, he just sent something now, so let me just get it.
All right, perfect.
So we could just go through that while he's
Yeah, that's fine, and it just breaks up the flyer a little bit so we can see the different sections of it. But let me just begin here by thanking you all very much for the opportunity to present this evening and to join your meeting about the Community Board 2. It's been something I've been very excited to do because of the nature of our program being very focused on the region of Community 2. It is certainly our intention to be relevant and supportive of your goals for the community, particularly the business community. And we really do hope that you see our work in this program as an ally in your work for what you're trying to accomplish for the Community Board 2. So thank you very much for having me with you tonight on your agenda. My name is Brian Gursky, and I'm with an organization called True Fund Financial Services. We are a community development financial institution, a CDFI. We are based in New York. We have been extremely involved in the city for many years, since 2006. We are, as a CDFI, focused on supporting small businesses, but particularly minority-owned small businesses. We are one of the New York City's 3 participating lenders in the Contract Financing Loan Fund, which supports certified minority and women business enterprises doing business with New York City government. We're one of the 5 partners statewide for the Bridge to Success program, which is for New York State government contracts and supporting MWBEs working on those contracts. We're also one of the 5 partners statewide for the New York Forward Loan Fund, which is a recovery fund, the $100 million loan fund, which has been just instrumental in supporting businesses all across New York City, the Bronx, right in our very own community in CB2, to make their way through the pandemic. We also offer educational training programs, which is why I'm here tonight. We have a robust program that we have been running with the support of the EDA, Economic Development Agency, under the U.S. Department of Commerce, and we focus this program to the communities specifically in the Hunts Point Peninsula and South Bronx. It's a free program for those who are admitted. We ask that we have the opportunity to interview them, to understand a little bit more about their business, to understand their ability and interest in committing to the duration of the program. It's a 3-month program, but it's designed to be sensitive to the very fact that our business community is incredibly busy. We know that from our block walking and our engagement in the community and our work in the community now for a while. And so we wanted to make sure that this program was manageable, lightweight enough, but also substantive. We've come through one cohort so far of this program, and we've experienced among the participants job creation. Businesses have been able to get access to capital through the partners we've brought into this program. And certainly they've been able to set direction for themselves and have access to expert speakers who are located in the city and also different parts of the country. Because this program is virtual online, we're able to source speakers from a variety of different places that are really relevant to the needs of our community. So this is a program I will just share some details with you about, and would be very grateful for your questions, your feedback on this program, and also for your recommendations on businesses that you know of, relationships that you have, on someone who you think could really benefit from this program. I mentioned my name is Brian. I'm Vice President of Strategy and Innovation at TrueFund. And I also have my colleague, Marcos, who is on the line as well. And Marcos is a program officer with TrueFund, and he runs the operations of the IBLP, the Industrial Business Leadership Program. So thank you again for welcoming us both. So I'll just go to the next slide and just quickly give you an overview of TrueFund. Very proud to work for an organization like this. Our mission is to help historically disadvantaged individuals and communities create thriving and resilient small businesses and entrepreneurial ecosystems in order to close racial and economic disparities and ensure an inclusive and equitable society. We do this through our loan programs. We do lending. We provide equity placements for minority developers. We have a new market tax credit program, and we also provide these educational training programs for the community. I mentioned we're based here in New York City, serve the greater New York State, New York City area, different parts of New York State, and we're other states of the country as well. The next slide, please. Thank you. And who's advancing that? Ralph, is that you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So title page. So much for a sourced photo. I swear that picture was taken right in our own community. I think this tells the story of a busy, active community. We have those who are in warehousing, distribution, transportation, auto, manufacturing, businesses that are even maybe not straight up traditional industrial, but they may be industrial in nature. They have vehicles, they have equipment. We do apply the notion of industrial broadly. So if you're not in question of whether someone is industrial, let us please speak with them first, and we'll see if they fit the parameters. Purpose of this program really is about building strength, fostering resiliency, and setting a new basis for growth for our business community, which we know has seen tremendous change and going through upswings and downswings as we know right now. We're also very proud to work with a network of partners very closely with Bach Network, with the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation. I'm sure you know Donald at the Greater Hunts Point Economic Development Corporation, Clarence Stanley at the SBDC, at Lehman College, and proudly Sobro as well in their multiple programs. We've referred clients to these programs. They've referred clients to us. So we're really actively supporting the business community together, in part through this program as well. Next slide. All right, so this is some information really about the content of the program. If I just may draw your attention to the upper right-hand corner, as I mentioned, we really want to make this program accessible. We understand that businesses may be interested in the content and the takeaways of this program, but they may be concerned about the time commitment. I mentioned that this is a 3-month program. The webinars, which are more like technical how-to training webinars, are designed more for established businesses. This is not how to start a business. This is really how to wrap your arms around your business activity as it is, assess it, internal, external, and take it to another level. The webinars are pre-recorded, and they're released on a weekly basis. And Marcos, my colleague, will visit the businesses in the community. They do not have to go anywhere. We will go to the business. They also can do training and workshops, or excuse me, they could do the coaching virtually as well. Just as we're speaking right now, we could set up meetings. And so the workshops are what we call asynchronous. They take them at their own time. They're 1 hour in length a week, 1 hour. We also once a month have a live virtual CEO roundtable where the businesses all get together, establish a learning community together, and they listen to the CEO of a who has undergone significant experiences, and they're there to really connect with the business owners as business leaders, and to speak more casually, not technically, but more about what is leadership about, and to talk about experiences of growth, managing through crisis, managing through change. We also, as I mentioned, have on-site or remote one-on-one coaching, because we know that the business community is busy and we want to make sure this program is accessible to them. I think we all know that the very nature of the business community that we work with in Hunts Point, South Bronx, the nature of their businesses sometimes just prevents them from participating. They would like to, they're interested in, but it's just hard to get there. So we really try to go that extra mile to bring the program to them. And we also, as an important last component I'll highlight here, is we subsidize, we pay for a number of hours of professional counseling by subject matter experts, whether it's in marketing, accounting, operations, technology, but those topics are told to us by the business. So we do our best to assess the business through what's called a comprehensive business assessment that's done at the beginning of the program. We learn what their needs are, and we identify experts, and we subsidize their time to work with the business and counseling them through and providing guidance on issues. And so these are part of the benefits of participating in this program, again, at no cost. Topics of the program, the overall theme is really about building strength, resiliency, and setting a basis for growth. Specifically, what that means is learning really how to assess your competitive environment. It's looking at internally at business processes, striving for efficiencies, identifying opportunities for efficiencies. Of course, there's a robust financial section, which really is mainly geared towards helping them to access and prepare to access capital. We do directly introduce them to lenders, so that they do have the opportunity to form relationships through this program. And at the end, we help them in resiliency and business continuity planning, so that they have an idea of what it is, how to get started on it, and introduce them to experts who could potentially be of service to them going forward. As I mentioned, businesses should be established. We are flexible on these terms, I will tell you, but let these be guidelines nevertheless, is that we would like the business to be located in either Hunts Point or the South Bronx region. Businesses should really have been in operation for a year or more. We would like that the business has some level of revenue. We've gone below this threshold, but as close to or above $200,000 in sales is a good starting place to make sure the businesses do have some active operations. And the businesses, the participants ideally have at least 3 employees. We've worked with businesses that had 2 employees in the program. Some have had more, obviously, but we are flexible, but we do want to make sure that they do have a number of employees. And lastly, that they're really just committed to participating in the program. We ask for a minimum of 10 hours a month, but that's a bare minimum. We hope that they'll spend more to really get the most out of this. So next slide, please. Thank you. We've had great results out of this. As I said, the last cohort, here's some quotes that we're so proud to share. The IBLP says, Ben Frierson of Ben's Distribution Center, the IBLP has not only exceeded my expectations, but reshaped my thinking as an entrepreneur. William Diaz of ESE Cabling says that few programs have set off light bulbs like this. So the feedback has really been wonderful, and we really do hope that you'll be enthusiastic to suggest businesses that could participate. Last slide. These are our leadership team for the program. We have a faculty member, Lacelle Sweetland, who is the facilitator of the whole curriculum, and then Marcos Reyes, who is on the call with us this evening, who's program officer for the program and really helps to operationalize this for the businesses. and extremely well-credentialed individuals, in addition to highly experienced in the business community, as I'm sure you'll see in the bios. Want to be mindful of time, so I'll go to the last slide here. That if there's questions or any follow-up you would like to have, and Cynthia, thank you kindly very much for receiving our flyer and the program fact sheet to share with the community. We have an email template, but it does apply to give them a link where they could submit their inquiry form, and we can pick right up from there and work with them. Our deadline for applications is November 23rd. So we just we're standing at the ready here to make sure that we can answer questions and help businesses be a part of this. But we're very excited to run our next cohort, and that's it. We thank you so much for your support, and I'm available to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. And the way I forgot to give my spiel at the beginning. So everyone who's on the call, at the bottom of the screen is the little emoticon. There's a raise your hand. If you have any questions, please do so. I have to see everybody on the screen, so I will call on people, hopefully in the order or very close to the order in which they've raised their hands for their questions. So if anybody has any questions or anything, Ralphie, do you have anything, or anyone else?
No.
I don't see no one with their hand raised, Madam Chair. But when I did speak with Brian earlier today, I just wanted to reiterate that all of these services he's providing are for free. So that's the main thing here, because we're talking about businesses and loans and stuff like that. But initially, it has to be free services. That's the only way the board can offer any support. And now we have Ray Arroyo with his hand raised.
Yeah. Okay, Ray, go ahead.
Hi, thank you. With respect to the program, I understand it's a great opportunity to foster existing businesses and helping them. What if you just don't have a business and you're just looking to, and this could be a segue for someone that wants to be an entrepreneur, wants to really grab the skills that would be, is there something that someone can take part of?
Thank you very much for the question, Ray, and it's certainly a relevant one, since we're seeing actually what's been called a surge of a generation of new business starts in the last number of months, and it's very relevant. So there's just two, there are businesses that are established, businesses that are just starting up. They have such distinct, unique needs. We know that there are many different workshops and programs that are there to help those who are working through concepts, getting a business plan together and formulating that. And we also know that sometimes the programs that are geared towards the existing businesses are less available, because we assume they're off and running, they should be fine. But we know that that's not necessarily the case, that businesses definitely can feel like a startup all again when they're trying to grow. But for your question, Ray, which programs are available for earlier stage businesses? We currently don't offer a program like that right now at TrueFund, but I would encourage looking at the Small Business Development Center at Lehman College. Clarence there, the director, is continually rolling out new programs. There's SOBRO, the Bronx Overall Economic Development Corporation as well. Michael Nixon's wonderful resource there. But I know that they do have programs. There's also Women's Business Center located right there in Hunts Point. That Bach Network has, Business Outreach Center Bach Network has, that also run programs like that. So we currently do not offer that for startups, but there are programs there, and it's absolutely a relevant and important community.
So yeah, Bach is actually my tenant. So their small business incubator is in my building. I by the way, I manage the bank note building. I'm the general manager.
Oh, that's fantastic. One of our participants in the last cohort of this program is in that incubator.
Okay, so it's exciting. I go in there frequently to help them out with different things. Okay, I just, from my perspective, and maybe this might be something we could develop, and I'm going to look at the options you mentioned, and I've attended some of these online forums with these other organizations. I just feel that maybe we need to create some sort of, like you have a job fair, maybe an entrepreneur's fair, where we can get people at an early stage to say, all right, show up, we'll make it a full day conference where we give them little tidbits of, business plan formulation, e-commerce formulation, things like that, things that at our level we typically do. And maybe that might be a way to plant the seed to get these guys to move to the next step.
Right. There are things that meet them right where they are in the startup. We are sometimes as True Fund party to conversations like that because they need to always be thinking ahead of where they are. So if they know what, yeah, exactly. So if they know like what our loan requirements are, for example, even though they're earlier in stage, soon enough, happy birthday, you're a year old and you're eligible for us. So it's good for them to kind of know how to set their record keeping, how to really manage, showing and demonstrating and achieving profitability so that they're putting themselves on a course to be able to qualify for higher levels of financing. But microloans and other organizations that may be able to help, early stage startup businesses help to get them there. So there's a ecosystem to draw from, and I'd be happy to be of continuing conversation to you, Ray.
I appreciate it, Brian. Thank you.
I'd love any feedback about the program, anything that you feel is particularly relevant, something you may have felt is offset about the program, any concerns you have. Always grateful for your feedback in addition to any questions.
Hey, no, I like the fact that you mentioned flexibility in terms of some of the things, in terms of the income levels, because some businesses, if they just started up in the middle of the pandemic, unfortunately, if they had the misfortune of starting something last year in 2020, they've been around for a year, but they can't maybe not have the amount that you guys were looking for at the threshold. And so flexibility there is really important for a lot of these businesses here. So I thought that was, I think that's a good thing to have when working with these businesses.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That is true. We are flexible.
Yeah, and and the fact that you are a CDFI, one of the few. I know we've done work in the past, or at least me and my organization. I also work at the Point CDC. We've done work with Spring Bank, which is another one of the few CDFIs in the city. So always happy to work with and help work with the businesses like that and see them here and working in the Hunts Point section, South Bronx.
That's great. Yeah.
Any other?
He has his hand raised again. I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I'm just curious.
Right.
Do you guys couple with any opportunity zone opportunities? Particularly, we're here in the Hunts Point area. Which is a federal opportunity zone.
The whole area is an opportunity zone. That's right. That's part of what helped us to get the support to do this. So we're a realization of the opportunity. The fact that we were able to reach out and obtain the federal funding to be able to support this is in part because this is indeed an opportunity zone. But there are other things to really look at with this. And I think that while this program is not set up to attract and guide investment as an opportunity zone, we do hope that we're part of helping businesses in the community be more aware of the resources that are available in their community, to be privy to the fact that they are an opportunity zone, that investments come in as a result of that, and to make sure that they are really, party to the discussion and their input is in on how they want to see their community evolve. So that is a part of the discussion and the evaluation when we look externally to the community in one of the very first sessions.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, so in the interest of time, I guess we'll move on to the next agenda item. Thank you, Brian and Marcos, for coming tonight and presenting. And we have your slides, and we can, Ralph and Cynthia, they'll send them along, and we can pass them along. I'll definitely, make copies and do some print ups and pass along to folks that we know.
Yeah, so Danielle's already posted it. Danielle's already posted it on social media. And what I'll do is tomorrow, everyone that's left their information in the chat, I'll email it out.
Thank you very much. We're very grateful for your support. It really takes an organization and a committee like yours to get the word out. So we really do count on your support. We're grateful for it. So thank you for having us with you tonight.
Okay. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Okay. Our next item, I believe, Ralph, we have listed here that it's Bob Gumbs of the Bronx African History Project, but are they present? Nobody's present from that, correct?
No, they actually emailed us saying that they were going to present next month, but it was already too late to change the agenda.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I wanted to keep it on the agenda just so that people can be made aware that they were scheduled, but unfortunately they needed to cancel, and they're looking to present next month. So
Yes. Okay. And it's all in the news with General Colin Powell's passing. He did grow up here in the South Bronx, not far. And so this would be something to honor him.
I met him when I was younger as a soldier.
Ah.
This is a big deal. I have his book at home.
Oh yeah. I got one of those too. Okay, so next up, listen, people, this is our last agenda item. We got Chavez Gonzalez of New York City Transit, and he's presenting on the Bronx Bus Network design. So we've heard little bits about it, but and only a small piece of it affects us in our community. But Chavez, is that how you pronounce it?
It's Charvy. Thank you.
Charvy? All right. I was getting fancy.
No.
Okay.
Thank you for sending me the presentation, Charvy. Thank you, Charvy.
Okay, Charvy, go ahead.
Good evening, Ralph, Cynthia, Madam Chair, and Community Board 2. Thank you for affording us some time to address your board this evening. As the slide indicates, we're here to discuss the Bronx Bus Network redesign. I'm accompanied by my colleague, Matt Lazo, and Rob Thompson, and we're going to talk bus network redesign. So we can go to the next slide, please. So just this slide here outlines a little bit of the redesign process and some of the processes we've undertaken in order to arrive at the final proposal. Last night, as you may be aware, we had a public meeting where we had a nice audience and had a robust conversation on the bus network redesign and the next steps, and just hearing the public and getting their input. So where we find ourselves currently, I mean, just to kind of like, for the sake of time, is we are kind of towards the end of presentations and taking in the input, and we're on, if you look on the bottom, let's say the bottom slide, second to last, where it says vote on proposal, that's our next step, which will be undertaken in December once we've gotten all the input. And this being, I think this may be the last. We had 2 community board meetings today. This is the last one that we'll be presenting on, maybe one more. But pretty much we're towards the tail end of this process here, which began initially back in 2019, as you can see by this timeline here. So we're looking to implement by the summer of 2022. So by no means is this the end of realigning buses. We do that quarterly, but this, a project of this magnitude has never been undertaken in recent history. Next slide, please. Okay. So since launching the Bronx Bus Network redesign, we've engaged in a high level of on-street engagement. Our staff engaged in hundreds of hours of outreach to customers, public, and other stakeholders. The recommendations in the proposed final plan were developed following unprecedented levels of public outreach with communities and in coordination with New York City DOT, elected official, and transit advocates, including informational open houses, activity-based workshops, community board meetings, in-person and online surveys, direct outreach at bus stops, subway stations, and community events. If you want to look at some of that outreach and what it looked like, there's a website right down here on the bottom. Ralph, if you could, if you can share that out with your board, that'll be great. Next slide, please.
Sure, no problem.
And with that, I will pass it to my colleague, Matt Lazo.
Thank you, Sharvie. Yes, so the bulk of these next slides will be me recapping what we've done for the Bronx redesign, as well as giving a few updates since we paused last year. So just to recap some strategies, our 5 strategies. We have 5 of them. So first one being simplify the network, which is basically making it more direct and streamlined in terms of routes, enhancing our connectivity, improving our east and west bus connections, and strengthening our travel within the borough as well as to Manhattan. And then we have 3 other strategies such as improving frequency, expanding the bus priority, and balancing the bus stops. Next slide, please. So the first strategy is simplifying the network. So we have 14 route changes and including 2 new routes. And for CB2, I think will be most relevant is BX4A and the BX6 SBS. The BX4A will be now terminating at Gladstone Square. But don't worry, we have the BX4 will still serve Westchester Square all the way to the hub. And for the BX6 SBS, it will be rerouted from Hunts Point to Soundview via Story Avenue. And as you can see, there's a star next to it. And that's really just a note just to let people know that we will be holding off on these changes in terms of implementation until 2023 due to us waiting for the MetroCard to fully retire and then have the Omni fully deployed. And I'll talk about that later on in this presentation. But just for the sake of time, I'm just going to keep moving through the slides. So we'll go to the next one. The next slide. Okay, so it's the second strategy, which is enhancing connectivity. So we're basically providing new extensions and new connections. So as I just mentioned, we're having new extension from BX6 SBS to Soundview. Another cool extension is the BX11 from which we would bring West 181st Street or like the Inwood area or Washington Heights area to Parkchester. And we also have providing new connections. And one example is the BX30, which will be rerouted to serve a new corridor, at least in terms of bus services, on Boston Road. Next slide. So it's the third strategy, improving frequency. We're improving frequencies on 11 routes, including 9 key corridors. And for CB2, what's good to note is the BX4, BX4A, and the BX6 local will all see frequency improvements with the implementation of the redesign. Again, you'll see a star right next to BX6 local. That is also basically related to the BX6 SBS services. So the changes with the rerouting of BX6 SBS also comes with frequency changes on the BX6 local. So again, we're going to hold off on those changes until 2023 with the MetroCards retiring at that time and Omni being fully deployed at that year. All right, so the next slide. So our 4th strategy is expanding bus priority. This is really us working with our partner agency, New York City DOT. They analyze 46 corridors across the Bronx and Manhattan and selected the highest ranking corridors to implement like these bus service treatments. So think about like busways, bus lanes, and traffic signal priorities. This will all help the MTA, New York City Transit, operate our buses more frequently and at the end of the day, speed up our buses. So the DOT completed some projects, namely like on 149 and 181st Street. There are projects in the works right now, such as the one in Pelham Bay Park Station area. And of course, there's a bunch of more coming down the pipeline, such as Gun Hill Road and Fordham Road. Next slide, please. And finally, our last strategy is balancing bus stop or bus stop consolidations. So we're planning to consolidate 400 stops, and basically will help us improve our stop spacing. And all this is in an effort to basically reduce the travel times and basically save 20 seconds per stop removed. But keep in mind, when we were doing this process, we made sure that we were keeping the stops that had heavy ridership, provided key connections, as well as serving community facilities. Next slide. All right, so that was the recap. Now we're just start giving some updates. So what might be the most pressing thing in a lot of people's minds is how does COVID impact the ridership? So the Bronx did experience a rather similar drop compared to the other boroughs in terms of bus riderships. And when we did our post-COVID ridership analysis, we have found that the ridership is returning. And not only that, the ridership patterns are also returning. So this kind of still reaffirms that our Bronx redesign final plans will still continue to improve the services for our riders. And with our goals that we stated or that we set out to achieve, which is the all-day frequent network, this will definitely help the essential workers both today and in the future. But of course, we're gonna do our due diligence and keep on monitoring the ridership changes in the future, now and in the future, and adjust the service levels as needed. Next slide. So here are the more granular updates. So we have 3 of them really. So as I mentioned before with the BX6 SPS, again, we're basically rerouting it from Hunts Points to Soundview via Bruckner Boulevard, Bronx River Avenue, and Story Avenue, and we'll terminate at Turnbull and Pugsley Avenue. So we're just going to hold off on implementation until 2023. That's when the Metro cards will retire and the Omni system will be fully deployed. Along with this BX6 SPS, that also includes BX5 and BX6 frequency proposals that we have put on the table. Those will be held off as well until 2023. Now, the other 2 may not be so, or may or may not be relevant to CB2, but the BX28 and the BX34, we initially proposed to reroute them simply to make them more straight or just to help them operate more smoothly. But after our February 2020 public hearing, we got some feedback and we did some investigation and field visits, and we decided that both of these routes will remain as they are today. So next slide, please. So these next 2 slides, I'm just providing some maps to help visualize some of these new proposals. So as I mentioned before, BX4A will terminate at Gladstone Square. It will no longer go to the hub, but the BX4 will still go to the hub. And because we're shortening the BX4A, it actually free up some more resources for us to invest in improving our frequency along the BX4. So you will actually see an increased BX4 and BX4A when you combine them will have a frequency of 8 minutes or better all day weekdays. And the other major change is BX6 SPS. So as again mentioned before, it was currently serves the Hunts Points market. We are going to reroute that to go to Soundview via Story Avenue. Again, we're holding off until 2023. So, but keep in mind, we are actually able to invest in improving the BX6 local services in terms of frequency. So it'll be 8 minutes or better all day weekday. Next slide. This is just more related to Central Bronx, but I think there's one route that might be of interest. So I won't go through all of it, but the BX35, which currently terminates at the Gladstone Square, it will be rerouted to serve Jennings Street and West Farms Road, which is currently being served by BX11. But our final plan is having the BX11 rerouted to serve Park Chester. So this is all an effort to help the network be more streamlined, more straightforward, and at the end of the day, speed up our bus services. So I think it's just one of those things good to know. The next slide. So these next, I think, is 2 or 3 slides are just a giant table of proposed schedule changes. I just want to emphasize that everyone can access these schedules tables on their website, either by route or you can do it in one giant table by looking at our final plan. We will also have this PowerPoint available publicly afterwards. So if you want to go there, you can definitely come back to these slides and just see for yourself. But I'll just point out again, BX4, BX4A, and the BX6 will all see improved frequency. And of course, the BX6 frequency change will not, along with the BX5, those changes won't happen until 2023. The next slide. Oh, let's just continue on. So I guess, yeah, we'll go to, I think, 1 or 2 more slides. The next ones, yeah. And 1 more, actually. Yep. And this is where I will hand it back to Charlie.
Okay, a lot of information. Thank you, Matt, to digest there. All right. So this is again back to, I guess, a point that I touched on initially. So this is the timeline and where we find ourselves. All the steps that we've undergone to arrive at this final proposal. So basically, once we wrap up the community board briefings with your own and maybe one other board, the final plan will be put to a vote before the MTA board, and if and when approved, it would go out for implementation in summer of 2022. Next slide. And with that, I thank you for your time once again. I hand it back to the community board for questions or comments.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Does anybody have any questions? I think I had one because I remember I was a little disappointed about the 6, SBS not coming into the peninsula anymore, right? That I believe they're turning now under the Bruckner, and the concerns of that are, already we have all these construction projects happening in that area. There's gridlock there constantly. Having another bus making that left turn there could be, add to the craziness. So I did just want to throw my 2 cents in. I don't know what you guys can do or say. And then next up would be Miles Burnett after, if you guys have any response to that.
So the first part of your questions, you're saying there's gridlock when it turns into Bruckner Boulevard into Soundview in that area, or is it gridlock in Hunts Point?
Well, right now, because we have a lot of construction going on but in the Bruckner vicinity, right there, what is that, from Edgewater to, towards Bronx River Avenue. And we do get backed up because of all that construction. Having more buses than just this, because now the 5 already turns there. Now you're asking the 6 SBS. So I just feel like that could be a big issue coming up. We have DOT in here all the time, telling them about we need more traffic agents to direct there. But I do have a concern about, that bus making that turn there. So, and then just to a note, it'll be after this will be Miles, and then I see that Clifford put his hand up as well.
Yes, hi. I'm just curious, exactly how does the Omni work, or is going to be working?
Clifford, Miles is first. Miles was first.
Sorry.
That's what Maria just said. So just bear with us.
Sorry.
You can go ahead. No worries.
You want me to go ahead?
I'm gonna share a link with some information about Omni. If you want to take a look at that and just get back to me with any specific questions that you have, we would like to keep this to the Bronx Bus Network redesign if possible. So I'll share that link and my email on the chat as well.
Thank you.
Okay, so so Miles, go ahead.
Oh, okay. Well, Maria, you did a good job with saying what I was going to say, so thank you. I was worrying about the BX6 myself, and is that what I'm understanding? Is what Maria said, is that it's going to be taking a turn in that intersection instead of going over into the peninsula?
Yeah, it will be rerouted from basically from that Hunts Point Station area to continue on to Bruckner Boulevard, and then make a right to Bronx River Avenue, and then I guess a left on Story Avenue. So it will serve that corridor and basically the Soundview area.
Okay.
And yeah, and with the BX5 and the BX6 SBS serving this corridor, it basically we'll have a frequency during the weekday, all day, basically 3 minutes or better.
So one concern really comes from trying to make sure that people from Hunts Point Peninsula can easily get to the Hunts Point station and shop in the Southern Boulevard area. So I'm not very good understanding the buses here, but which way is going to go across then? Is there any bus that's going to go across?
that will go into, will follow down along Hunts Point into basically the food center drive. Is that what you're referring to? So that's what the BX6 SPS is doing now, but the BX6 will still do that same route that it's currently serving, and we'll be increasing the frequency on that to BX6 to, yeah.
Okay, so the BX6 will continue to serve Hunts Point across Bruckner Boulevard on the peninsula.
Yeah, the BX6 will
Okay.
keep doing the same route that it does, and we'll be increasing the frequency on that as well.
Oh, okay. All right. That was just I think I misunderstood them. Thank you.
No worries, no worries.
Okay, any other questions or concerns? And again, this will be provided for people who put their emails in the chat, which is another reason why you should do it, not just to get for us to have attendance, but you could get all these great informational materials. Any questions? Ralph, did you have any questions or concerns?
No, I mean, we're not losing any stops. We're just losing the SPS. We always had a problem with that bus lane to begin with, right? Because of the SPS. But we got to help out our neighbors. I know our neighbors in Board 9, there's a lot of, going back and forth now that this is going to 2023. Because I think, if I'm not mistaken, MTA already built out the bus stops on Story Avenue for the SPS 6, and is taking up parking spaces or something along those lines. It's not with us, but nothing on my end. I mean, as long as they're going to increase the number 6 bus, right? Because now if we're losing the SPS entering the peninsula, as long as they increase the 6 bus, we should be fine.
Yeah, just to, I guess, touch on the story I have quickly. Yeah, there was some that's kind of similar but separate. It's a New York City DOT program where they do the street treatments and create the bus lanes. Obviously, they're the same streets in question, and the street treatments are for our buses. But Story Ave wasn't addressed actually through the bus network redesign. It was through the Better Buses program. New York City DOT. So a similarity with a distinction.
Okay. Miles and Cliff, your hands are still raised. So I don't know if you want to go back into that, unless you guys had anything else to add. Okay. All right. All right, cool. I guess there's nothing else. I guess that's it. Thank you guys very much for your presentation and your time this evening.
Thank you so much.
Have a good evening, everyone, and happy Memorial Day, Veterans Day, excuse me, to those who serve. Thank you.
Question. I have a question.
Okay, Wilfredo. All right, go ahead.
I thought the Hunts Point, the San Juan Center people were going to be in this meeting.
Ralph,
I'm not sure. Go ahead, Ralph. Or
they were scheduled, but they're not prepared to present, so they should be coming back next month.
Or next month.
Talking about 1095 Southern Boulevard, correct?
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, so that will be hopefully addressed next month.
Yeah, because they're doing the construction. I want to say my my opinion about that. I know they're not here to defend themselves.
Once that comes up on the item, sir, once that's on the agenda, then because you can address it directly with them. Okay. They're not here now, so hopefully
they're gonna defend themselves. I understand that.
Hopefully they'll be back next month, but they weren't prepared this month, so hopefully December, if not maybe January. But just follow up with the office and we'll let you know.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. All right. I guess we're gonna move along to if there's any old business. None. New business? Anybody have any new business?
Hey, Maria, I had an update to give.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Effie from DEP.
Thank you. Thanks, Maria. So for our wastewater treatment facility in Hunts Point, we've been having issues up front of tractor trailer parking. These big, huge tractor trailers, they have a lot of stuff inside that is odorous. They stay parked on the street, which they shouldn't be, for days on end. It's been an ongoing issue with also illegal dumping over there. And we've brought it to the attention of agencies like the police, and the community board has been extremely helpful with that. We brought to the attention of sanitation. But we are proposing putting around our facility 4 new cameras. So 2 would be on the main building and 2 on the eastern gate. All of them would be facing Riowa Avenue. We would have to take this to the PDC, the Design Commission. So we're working on this, and I'll definitely get back to the community board and let you know a timeline of when we will be putting them on. But I just wanted to let you know, okay?
Okay, Effie, I love you, but I can't help but see the irony in you guys having to call 311 because there's a truck outside that smells funny from DEP. I mean, Ralph, right? Isn't this stuff that we used to talk about all the time in the Hunts Point Monitoring Commission? But
Yeah, that was a long time ago.
that's a long time ago. But yeah, like right across the street, you got some medical waste, and then you got some construction waste. And yeah, it's unfortunate that these tractor trailers like to park out, and they could be there for days with their with they have in transit. So it's tough stuff. But thank you. The cameras would be appreciated, and hopefully we could see a reduction in that in our community. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what we anticipate as well, a reduction in also the illegal dumping. There's a ton of garbage and debris that is dumped, and we try to pick it up, and sanitation has assisted as well, but unfortunately it just keeps happening. So hopefully that would be helpful. And another thing, I had sent a notification to the community board about water main shutdown that we did today on Westchester Ave between Elder and Manor Avenues.
It's right on the screen, Effie. It's on the screen.
Oh, perfect. Thank you. You're the best. Thank you, Cynthia.
Effie, that's not really in our district, but we're being kind enough to just post it because Cynthia says it's Effie. So
It's funny because my guys were insisting it's community board too. What is it, 3?
That's 9.
Oh, it is 9. Okay. Well, I also send it usually to everybody, but I send it to you guys first. Boyden Avenue, yeah. But just a heads up, I didn't get any complaints today. Usually when we give those boundaries, sometimes there's a couple of blocks outside of those boundaries that may experience it as well. So I always like to share it with everybody just so you have it. But we didn't get any water pressure issues or discolored water complaints or anything like that. So it was fine. But other than that, I don't have anything else new for the board. I just want to let you guys know about the cameras. That was it. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
And then Cynthia is posting some flyers for upcoming events that are all attached to our agendas. And again, I guess if you find it in the chat, would you be able to get an agenda along with all those flyers? It's that time of year. It's Thanksgiving, and so for a lot of us to be thankful, but also there's a lot of folks that don't have certain things, and so we are fortunate. Our district does get a lot of generosity between the markets and the food businesses in the area that do donate Thanksgiving meals, turkeys, and things of that nature. So it's that time of year. Flyers, give them out to folks that you think are in need or would benefit from it. Please share it. And I see Miles has his hand up. Miles, go ahead. Or is that old?
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. I was just wanting to put it on everyone's radar that like we're seeing a real increase in robberies in the Southern Boulevard bid. I know it's just saying it at this meeting doesn't do anything or change anything, but I am just wanting to keep everybody aware that that is something that we're working on. I have a lot of business owners reaching out to me and wanting to draft some kind of letter to the precinct. I'd rather just speak with them, but they want to say something of like, we need to, you know, have an increase of presence. And I wanted everyone to know that that's the sentiment I'm getting. We are working to start a WhatsApp group so that business owners can alert when someone has robbed or if they have a picture or anything to keep other business owners aware of what's going on the strip. But that won't happen overnight necessarily. So if you know anybody who is on that or even in the Hunts Point area, I don't think it needs to be exclusive to the bid. Just let them know to reach out to me and we can add them to that group. But yeah, thank you.
I see Ray has his hand up really quick, but Miles, I also heard some really upsetting news that I think Rite Aid will be leaving Southern Boulevard, which will like leave us with none of the big pharmacies. And I think Rite Aid is actually also leaving because of just theft, right? Is that true or false?
Well, I haven't necessarily heard finally that they were definitely leaving, but I wouldn't be surprised one bit. I mean, they have 3 security guards in there, and if you go in there due to so much robbing and then the lack of like the supply chain being a little bit slower for them, they said their shelves are like empty. So I don't know how they could if you go down Southern Boulevard, I mean, there's a lot of stores like the beauty store and even the new discount store that went into 1029 East 163rd there on the corner of the Social Security building. They, you know, they have pictures up of just like frequent people who come in regularly and just steal. And it's getting to a level that, I mean, I know there was COVID and people were inside and things like that, but it right now is really picking up. Everybody's feeling it, and I'm if anyone has an idea or a suggestion on something that we could do to advocate for more assistance or that would help this circumstance, please let me know because I'm a little bit at a loss other than just trying to create communication. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yes, I feel you. I mean, it's like, you know, it's had you scratch your head about it. Ray, who is on the precinct council, you have your hand up. Go ahead. Oh, you're on mute, I think.
Hey, sorry about that. So definitely, Miles, I will, there's a new precinct commander. I've been in touch with him almost daily since he took over last week. So I will share this since I know Secola's not on this meeting. I will share the comments and emphasize it. Not only the issues with the muggings that I've actually been involved with and helping a recent elderly woman that was mugged near the banknote building. But gun violence, it's just, I don't know. It's like all of a sudden it's an uptick and it's insane what's happening. So, yep, I will push it on my end too. And if you want me, I'd be more than happy to be part of your chat group since I do run the banknote and a lot of the employees over here do go to Southern Boulevard and shop and if any way I can help with that, please let me know.
I appreciate it, and that's a good point. I will definitely be sure to involve the precinct council members as well.
Yep, I will buzz him a little bit right after this. I was actually calling for a totally non-related issue. Only, you know, I manage the banknote building, and I haven't really seen much, but I actually ran into a colleague of mine who wasn't aware. There's a local law 152, which requires any building that's not 1 or 2 family residential to have a gas inspection done this year by a licensed plumber, and it's specific to people in this community board. So instead of doing it annual, they actually have it zoned by community board. So 2021 is Community Board 2, 5, 7, and 13. So my plumber's taking care of me. This might be something that relates to the Point or other sister buildings near us, but pretty much any building on the bid that's not residential has to have their gas service inspected too. The fine is about $10,000 if you fail to do it by the 31st.
You send me something on like what was it? Can you say it again so I can look into that because I had not heard that.
So I'll put the link right now. So it's a gas inspection required by local law 152. It's a New York City ordinance, and it's weird because typically, you get a grace period. In this case, the schedule is based on community board. So if you click on this page, you'll see it's called periodic gas piping system inspection, and you see 2021 is all the buildings within our community board. So if any of your business members or any of the buildings really on the strip there that have a gas service, they have to do this, or the penalty is about 10 grand. Con Ed has been, and the city has been really becoming aggressive with a lot of this enforcement. Not only that, they're actually starting to put leak detectors in large buildings as well. And you don't really have the option, you have to put it in. Either you comply or they can cut your service. So it's just, this is a major thing. Here we're in November, so they haven't done it. They should do it and get it tested right away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Okay. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was muted, but I wasn't. I couldn't find my thing here. Okay. Thank you for that, Ray. We'll definitely look into that. I'll click on that to see. With there being no further business or announcements, I will need
We have announcements.
Anthony.
We have announcements.
Oh, we have announcements.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Okay, go ahead. Announcements.
Cindy, the floor is yours now.
So Bronx Community Board 9 is doing a winter cloth distribution. You can log into their Facebook or you can give them a call. It's going to be November 21st from 1 to 5. Next.
Okay. Oh, come on. You have like 1,000 of these flyers. Really?
I know. Community Food Distribution Day, Saturday, November 13th and Saturday, November 27th. I will be emailing this to everyone. So next. Another food distribution, November 14th from 1 to 5 over at 2172 Starling Avenue.
Community Board 9 representing. Uh-oh.
Then we have Thanksgiving Community Give Back, November 22nd, Castle Hill and Newbold Avenue. Then this was Effie's information. Then we have over at the Hunts Point Recreation Center, Saturday Night Lights, which is going to allow the teenagers to stay off of the streets between the hours of 4 and 8. They'll be able to do sports and activities. They just have to register with Hunts Point Rec and the numbers on there. There's a virtual property management class. It's an introduction that NYC HPD is doing November 16th from 6 to 8. Usually Parks Recreation Center charges, I'm not sure if they charge everyone, but I know there's a membership fee. So they're waiving it until December 31st. So in order for people to get access to these rec centers, they have to have a membership.
And that's actually usable at any city park. Once you register,
yes,
you can use it anywhere, and it's good for 1 year. I got one.
Okay, thank you, Ray. So then they're doing the child tax credit. It's some information that the city sent out to us. If people have not received any assistance, they're able to reach out to to this organization, to the city organization, and they can assist them. Go ahead, Ralph. That's the same thing. Go ahead. Public school families can get $50 monthly internet credit. They just have to apply. I have the information with the link and everything included, so I'll be sending that out. Go ahead, Ralph.
That's it.
That's it. And we have our event with the Point and Balzor, along with council member Salamanca, November 20th. It's first come, first serve, no holding spots in line, and they'll get pretty much an entire food shopping for Thanksgiving.
And so we have to give a special shout out to Ray, who is also collaborating by letting us use his parking lot.
Yes. And Ray from the Bankno building is allowing everyone to line up in his place, so that way it's safe and no one's in the actual
I set up childcare, so I will be with you.
Thank you, Ray.
No problem.
Yeah, we'll be connecting, Ray, to iron out more stuff.
As soon as you're ready, I'm in all week and all next week. So.
Yep. So, so with that, I need Anthony or Miles to make a motion, and then Anthony or Miles to second that motion to adjourn the meeting.
Anthony Rodriguez motions.
I second his motion.
Okay, so Anthony adjourn, and then Miles second. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so then this meeting is adjourned. Listen, we would have been done by 7, but Cynthia read 25 pages of announcements. I hope she does this at every other meeting to bring their numbers down.
Every meeting, every committee meeting. Yep.
But this meeting is adjourned at 7:12. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time and caring about our community. So we'll see you all. The full board meeting is actually next week, and so see you all then. Take care.
See you. Thank you.
Yeah, everyone,
Bye-bye.
stay safe.
Thank you. Good night.
Happy Veterans Day, Ray.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, Ray. Thank you for your service.
Yes, Ray. Thank you so much.
I'll be
Cynthia,
giving
let me
free
know
hugs
when you
tomorrow. I'll get veteran.
chat.
Come find me.
I got it, Ralph.